The One Chicago crossover event featured several key characters. These included firefighter Stella Kidd and Detective Adam Ruzek trapped in a train, Chief Dom Pascal and Sergeant Hank Voight working together, and Detective Kim Burgess and Dr. Caitlin Lennox arguing over questioning a burn victim. However, some characters were vastly underused and deserved more screen time, highlighting the challenges of forming a crossover between the three shows. While certain characters weren't shown as much as others, they still played a pivotal role in saving lives and investigating who and what caused the gas explosion. The One Chicago crossover has been hailed as a team-up reminiscent of Avengers: Endgame, with all three units working together hand-in-hand and even disputing how certain life-and-death situations should be handled. As such, these characters deserved a little more action. 6. Kevin Atwater. The Chicago PD veteran should have done more. Kevin Atwater, Chicago PD. Detective Kevin Atwater has been with Chicago PD since the beginning, making his limited screen time during the crossover disappointing. Atwater is always a diligent, informative, and reliable police officer who constantly gives Voight information about every case. During the crossover, Atwater, Dante Torres, and Kiana Cook work mostly behind the scenes as they investigate who was directly responsible for the gas explosion. Atwater helps Voight and the team track down the perpetrators responsible for the chaos. This includes placing handcuffs on security guard Lauren Bates, the insider who gave the culprits access to the government building before the explosion. Aside from investigating and arresting one of the criminals, Atwater didn't have as many special moments compared to other primary characters. This serves as a reminder that the detective deserves more time in the spotlight instead of being a side character. 5. Sharon Goodwin. The boss of Med makes a brief comeback. Sharon Goodwin, Chicago Med. Medical Director Sharon Goodwin makes a triumphant return after recovering from her stalker attack. As usual, Sharon displays leadership and care during every tense situation in Med. Goodwin doesn't have as many scenes during the crossover, which is a letdown considering her resilience to return to work immediately. However, she finds herself caught in an argument between Dr. Caitlin Lennox and Detective Kim Burgess when intelligence demands to question a severely burned woman for her involvement in the gas explosion. Goodwin understands Lennox's commitment to prioritizing her patient. The director also recognizes that Voight and Burgess intend to interrogate the woman so they can encounter those responsible for the explosion. There's also the urgency to rescue Ruzek, Kidd, and train passengers trapped under rubble. Goodwin also oversees Voight's conversation with the patient's daughter, whom she can relate to as a concerned mother. Despite her limited screen time, her presence is always welcome. 4. Darren Ritter. The firefighter isn't shown as much compared to his colleagues. Darren Ritter, Chicago Fire. Firefighter Darren Ritter is one of the most underrated characters in Chicago Fire because he doesn't get as much attention compared to others like Stella and Carver. Ritter could have had more of a role during the crossover, such as placing him in more intense scenarios as he and his colleagues rescue civilians from the gas explosion. Ritter is mostly shown in the first hour of the crossover but disappears later in the show. Ritter didn't have many standout moments, but one involved him and Carver trying to save a security guard whose legs were crushed by rubble from the explosion. Despite their efforts to get him out without taking extreme measures, Dr. Dean Archer makes the challenging decision to amputate the guard's legs as that is the only option to ensure his survival. Ritter's only role in these events is akin to that of a worried bystander, rather than someone who's actively driving the action himself. 3. Maggie Lockwood. Maggie's time is too brief after her major breakup. Maggie Lockwood and John Frost in Chicago Med Season 10 Episode 10. After her tough breakup with Dr. Lauren Johnson, head charge nurse Maggie Lockwood could have had a massive opportunity to obtain a large role during the crossover. However, Maggie has low screen time, which is disappointing because she's another leader like Goodwin who exhibits understanding during intense moments. Maggie's limited appearance may be a result of the crossover taking place more at the site of the gas explosion rather than at Med. Maggie barely has a chance to shine, but has a significant moment with Dr. Hannah Asher when the latter shows her key evidence linking a patient to the gas explosion. Maggie and Asher could have been shown more in terms of treating other patients affected by the incident, or supporting Mooch when he's going through emotional turmoil as his wife Trudy is being treated for her gunshot wounds.